know why, but I just got shamed. So I'm not allowed to say, and we're back, even though this is episode 23.
Oh, and you're not allowed to do that. Shamed. Shamed
this
for
isn't
these
episode
things.
23. This is episode 23. Posted, episode. Posted episode 22 yesterday.
Okay, I believe you.
This is episode 23, baby.
Nice.
I think. Yeah. Yep, this is going to be episode 23. It's confirmed. And I'm not allowed to say it anymore. So moving on, I'm Daphne.
I'm Gail.
Yeah, are you? I like this. We have to keep this. We're having fun over here. It's because the Nuggets are playing tonight. And so go Nugs. This could be the winning game tonight.
Right. And we are recording. So as soon as we're done, we're going to go in and watch the game. Yeah. And this could be it. Hopefully people don't riot and flip cars and stuff. I don't understand that form of celebration.
I don't either. It's like real destructive.
Right.
It's not a really great form of celebration. Right. It's just more like destructive. It's more like that would be a losing thing.
Right, exactly.
Not it's so much a winning thing.
Right, celebration. You pop champagne, you have some cake, you buy yourself something pretty. You don't burn your belongings.
Right. Well, I also saw that Denver PD is getting ready in case they win. You know, it's going to be a riot downtown.
Mayhem.
Yeah, a mayhem for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, go Nuggets even still.
Yeah, right?
And my car's in the garage, so it won't get flipped, hopefully, unless Daphne comes out.
Well, we don't live anywhere near fucking Denver, so.
That's also true. But I hope Daphne doesn't come out and flip my car and set it on fire.
Go Nuggets! Please, let me flip this heavy-ass car with my fucking T-Rex arms. It's right before we started recording. I said, ow, my hips kind of hurt. I was like, I don't know if they're out of their socket or really crunched up into their socket. And my mom's like, oh, yeah, you can pop your hips yourself. And then she's trying to describe it to me. And I'm like, I'm going to need to see this. I'm going to need a demo. She does it. And I'm like, did your hips pop? She's like, nope. I was like, then maybe I won't try it. Thanks for going to Gale School of Chiropractics.
Hey, you never know. It might have worked. It might work for you just because it didn't work for me, as seen on TV.
Right. All right, Mama, what's your disturbing fact?
Okay, my disturbing fact is that, did you know...
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Did you know
that dead people can still get goosebumps?
What the fuck?
Right? Okay, so it's not technically goosebumps because obviously they're not cold, but what it is...
I think they are cold. Oh. Wow. I think when you die, you go cold is the first sign of death.
Well, maybe that's why they get goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Not goose mumps. And this scientific explanation is bullshit. They're just really cold.
Is that the scientific explanation?
No. That was your explanation.
Well, they are. When you die, you go cold.
Right. But
I never personally witnessed it, but my cat, when she died, she was cold.
Alrighty then, Captain Bring Down.
Well, it's true.
Your face just got all sad and long.
Yeah, my poor mousette.
Okay. So anyway, the reason that dead people get goosebumps is a form of rigor mortis. So when all people die, the ATP inside your body is all used up, and muscles need ATP for relaxation. And so since you don't have the ATP to relax, it's been depleted from your muscles, they remain in a contracted state.
And that's rigor.
Right, and that's rigor. And goosebumps occur because of the contraction of the muscle called the erector pili. So that's like your arm hair. And that's, yeah. Anyway.
Just stands.
You're fucking laughing at me. It's fine because I said erector, I'm sure. Daphne's 5.
My mom
She's an erector. But anyway, the body will remain in a state where it is not relaxed, which is rigor mortis, and each and every individual portion of the body is not relaxed. That's also why, side note, like dead people's eyes are open. Because when you're closed,
I hate that.
when your eyes are closed, like you're relaxed, but they're like not relaxed.
So it is realistic the way that they depict people on Criminal Minds?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. They
They have fans underneath them. They're like, get goosebumps.
Get goosebumps and keep your eyes open.
And lay as stiff as possible.
Right.
You need to do some roids before you get in here.
Roids.
You know, so you can flex hard.
Oh, okay. I'm like, don't they hop you up?
Yeah, I think they make you flex.
Okay. All
Maybe.
right.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, that's my
Unless they're
disturbing
using
fact.
real dead bodies.
And there's that.
All right, so we're going to be doing what?
You have no thoughts. She's like, okay, cool. That was neat. Thanks for spending your time researching that. On to me now.
Well, what did you want me to say about it?
Daphne's an only child. Look at me. Look what I can do.
Yeah, okay, only child.
Oh, me too.
What did you want me to say about it? Wow, I can't wait to see it when it happens to you.
Yes, that was the appropriate response. Thank you for that.
My other thought was that I shave my arms, so I don't know how my hair could stand up if my arms are shaved.
It will, because when you're old, you probably won't be still shaving your arms.
Well, I'm going to get that shit lasered off.
Okay, well, then it won't happen to you. You might still get goosebumps, though.
Okay.
But you won't have hair follicles. You'll still have the follicle. You just won't have the hair.
You still have the pore.
Oh, then
So
they won't because it's the follicle itself.
Well, I'm going to get my whole body lasered. I'm going to defeat this curve.
Okay, I think I shouldn't have asked for your thoughts.
I am not going to be chicken skinned when I'm dead.
Okay, go ahead, Daph.
So today is partly
do.
Partly do of Samuel Littell. I believe it's pronounced like part deux.
Shit.
Part 2 of Samuel Little. And I don't want to recap. So you're going to have to listen to part 1 if you want to hear about it. And I recommend it before you get into this part.
Yeah, since this is part 2.
Yeah, before you listen to this one, listen to part 1, okay?
Yes.
So we're going to pick up. Pick up. Shit. I can't English today. It's a really problem. Fuck.
Oh my.
Okay, so he was arrested on September 5th of 2012. Now, if you recall, what we had talked about last time was that we talked about his California crimes, right?
Yes.
Because we basically tracked from when he got out of prison.
Right.
So he got arrested September 5th, 2012 at a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking recent.
Yeah.
It's like 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was extradited to California on narcotics charges. Now, there's not a lot of explanation about these narcotics charges because obviously some other shit went down. They used genetic genealogical DNA to establish his involvement after, they had to take his DNA, collect all that while he's on trial for these narcotics charges.
Okay.
And then they established that he was involved in the murders of Carol Alford, Guadalupe Apodaca, and Audrey Nelson. Remember, those were the known ones from California.
Correct.
So he was charged for all 3 of the murders January 7th, 2013. So during this time, while he was being charged for the 3 murders on January 7th, 2013, he was then being looked into for several other murders in the 80s at this time. And the Melinda Lepre case was reopened, if you remember that from last episode as well.
So were they all the cases in California and no other states had involvement at this time?
They didn't have involvement at this time.
Okay.
When this was being reopened.
Okay.
And then while he's being charged for the 3 in California, the 3 known victims, what we know now are the known victims, his DNA then was tested everywhere, in which it came back a match against 60 cases.
Holy shit.
And obviously we know he confessed to having 93 killings, but he was tested against 60 with confirmation.
That's fucking crazy.
So once he was tried for the murders of Carol Alford, Guadalupe Apodaca, I feel like I'm saying that so wrong.
Apodaca.
Apodaca. So I was saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
And Audrey Nelson, He was found guilty on September 25th, 2014, and sentenced to life in prison. And I have a side note here, and I literally wrote side note. I feel like that was really fast. Like, he was arrested in 2012. These charges happened after they, like, tested his DNA, right, against and found matches from the DNA that they had from these women.
Right.
And then, so he's arrested in 2012, charged at the end of 2013, and went on trial, found guilty, sentenced to life in prison in September of 2014.
That's some swift justice.
Right? Because, like, Lori Vallow, this bitch,
right.
I mean, we'll talk about her one day eventually, but God, that one's heartbreaking.
It's terrible.
That one is, like, really heartbreaking to me.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, like we talked about our sensitivity to some of them versus others. This one, I feel like the Lori Vallow one, I have a really high sensitivity towards.
Well, I think anything with kids is harder. And I shouldn't say that because every life is valuable. But for whatever reason, kids are harder because they're more innocent than adults. And especially when a mom kills her kids. Like,
right.
What the fuck?
Well, I think I feel like the kids went missing, though, in that case. And what, like 2017? Maybe even sooner than that?
I don't know. But
I think it was 2017. No, I'm just saying, I think it was 2017. Well, she finally went to trial and was sentenced to be guilty, like, last month.
Right. 2023.
Yeah, that's a long fucking time. I mean, granted, you know, we had COVID in the midst and all that. But, like, they couldn't have waited to, like, try people for a nug in their pocket before they waited to do Lori Vallow.
True.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
So the prosecution at this time in his case showed everybody all the DNA evidence as well as the testimony of these witnesses in the past. Remember the witnesses who they said that their testimonies were unreliable or biased or whatever?
Right. Like the woman who played dead and all of that.
Yeah, no, he was found guilty for her.
Okay.
But the Melissa Lepre, that case, the witnesses who last saw him with her, they all were that case got thrown away, remember?
Right. Because they were quote unquote unreliable.
Yeah. So they finally took these people's testimonies into consideration.
Well, that was nice of them.
And the women who, like the girl who got away from him.
Well, if only they would have done that prior.
Yeah, no shit.
I hate it when, I don't know, it's so frustrating because I feel like in a lot of cases, people go to the cops and they're like, hey, this and this happened and this guy tried to kill me and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, but we don't really have the evidence to prove it, even though he has a dead body in his car. So we're just going to have to let him walk.
Yeah. It's so fucked.
Yeah, we'll catch him on the next one or the next one.
We'll catch him on the flip.
Or on the 60th one.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Sometimes our justice system does a great job and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate for the times it doesn't because this could have been a lot of lives. Probably I would say at least 90 lives that were saved if by the third one they finally would have taken it seriously.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
It's super fucked up.
So now we're going to jump into some of his confessions. We're finally going to get there. So these are the order of his confessions in order. The order in order. Okay, so we're just going to kind of jump into this. I think we'll spend the third part talking about the unknown victims, the rest of the Jane Does.
Okay.
If I can get to all of them is the problem, is because some of them, like we talked about last time, so the California ones were easy to bunch together because he had a lot of descriptions on the California women. He had sketches drawn of the California women, or most of them anyway, but they were a lot easier to put together and present here than some of the other ones that
right.
I'm going to have a hard time with, where it was like, oh, girl in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unknown girl in Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah, that's so sad.
So on November 9th, 2018, he confessed to the 1996 strangulation of Melissa Thomas. On January 31st, 1996, 24-year-old Melissa left her family's home in Opelousas, Louisiana, I believe is how you say the name of that town, to head to a gas station for a pack of cigarettes. The store was across the street from a cemetery, which she used the cemetery as like a shortcut to get to and from her house, like to this gas station.
Right.
So she never made it home that night. And she was later found dead in the cemetery, lying face down, and she had scratch marks on her neck, which led investigators to believe, obviously, that she had been strangled.
Right.
She was fully dressed in a flower-printed dress.
Aw.
And she had no trace evidence on her body.
Wow.
Yeah. So her brother Joe and her sister Emma, they said that Melissa's death took a huge toll on their parents and their family as a whole, that their mom died years later of a broken heart, and her dad passed away not knowing who killed his daughter.
That sucks.
And then this city's police department, Captain Crystal LeBlanc, she took over the investigation 13 years later. And then she began to enter the details of Melissa's murder into a national database that hopefully it would match with some other cases.
Mm-hmm.
So while he's carrying out these 3 life sentences, right,
Mm-hmm.
in Los Angeles or in California for the murders in Los Angeles,
Right.
he was cut a deal with the Texas Ranger Division that if he confessed to one of their cold cases at this time, that they would waive the death penalty and relocate him to a more comfortable, quotes, jail that was in Texas.
Okay.
And so we'll dive into this a little bit more. But this is a quote from Captain LeBlanc. She said, he was stroking her neck, and he said that while he was stroking her neck, she said, "Why are you touching my neck like that? You a serial killer or something?" And at that point, he said, "I got angry." And he said, "I just started choking her."
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of his confessions to the Texas Ranger.
Right. Well, and he's, never mind. She was just calling him out.
Right. "Why are you stroking my neck, you freak?"
Right.
And he's like, "I am a serial killer."
Right.
Which
Wow.
actually, I don't know if I've dove into this or not. And I don't even know if I put this in my notes. But I saw this come up a lot of times, which was like just really grim and disgusting, was that he kept saying, like, people kept asking him, right, during all of these interviews and all these confessions he was doing, "What is your relationship with God?" And he would say, "Well, God put me here to be a serial killer. God made me do all this. God made me do that. I was born the way I was."
Wow.
So he's just a dirty POS. He ain't even denying any of it.
No kidding.
Well, obviously, if he's confessing, he's not denying.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's...
during his first trial of the 3 women in California, he tried to maintain his innocence. But obviously, they had DNA evidence against him. So tough luck with that, sir.
Right. Plus, they had witness testimony that they had priorly dismissed.
Yeah. So fucked.
Yeah. So they have DNA and they're like, oh, hey, if you go back and look at these notes from the case, 4 people came forward and said this and this and this. And it just happens to match this guy who, his physical description, who we also matched his DNA profile.
And his MO.
Yeah. And that as well.
So on November 13th, 2018, he was charged with the 1994 murder of Denise Christie Brothers in Odessa, Texas, after confessing to the Texas Ranger that we mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
So on January 1st, 1994, 38-year-old Denise Brothers, she was reported missing. She was a sex worker and she was last seen near a motel. On February 2nd, 1994, a Coca-Cola bottling company employee, he discovered her partially clothed body at this lot on Van Street in West Odessa. And she was strangled to death, obviously. That's his MO.
Right.
But she was left in a bush. So the employee at first, he thought that she was a mannequin because the cold weather had helped preserve her body.
Wow.
And then when detectives came to the scene, they immediately knew exactly who she was because she was known with law enforcement. She was well known as a sex worker with them. And initially, her pimp and another man, they were the main suspects in the case. But then eventually it ran cold up until 2018 when they got his confession about it.
Wow.
And then on December 13th, 2018, he pled guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. Again, this was in exchange for not getting or for moving to like a comfier place in Texas.
And taking the death penalty off the table.
Yeah, and getting rid of the death penalty.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if that should have been a deal that they should have made. However, by making this deal, he did confess to everything.
Right. And then people get closure. So it's kind of like...
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Literally, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's a double-edged sword.
So I tried to look up this woman I couldn't find much information about her other than the fact that on November 15th, 2018, the Russell County, Alabama District Attorney announced that he had confessed to the 1979 murder of a 23-year-old Brenda Alexander, who was found in Phoenix City. I couldn't find much else out about her.
1979?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's going back further than we thought.
Yeah, no shit.
On November 16th, 2018, Macon, I believe is how you say it, or Macon, Georgia, sheriffs announced that...
Macon, Georgia.
Macon? Well, that sounds weird. But I guess it's like bacon.
That's
Macon.
how they say it.
Bacon,
I didn't know what you were
Macon.
saying at first, but then when you said Georgia, then I'm like, oh, Macon, Georgia.
Okay, so Macon, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Like bacon, Georgia.
Yep.
So in Macon, Georgia, the sheriffs announced that Little had a credible confession about the 1977, we're going even further back,
Wow.
strangling of an unidentified woman, and she was the Macon Jane Doe, and she's suspected to be the first victim.
Sad.
Yeah, so this
case
is the
is
one
really
that
heavy.
I hinted at you last time. We have an identity. So she was 20-year-old Yvonne Pless, and she was found on Arkwright Road. So the breakthrough of this case came when Captain Shermaine Jones of the Bibb County Sheriff's Office and Amy Hutzel, program director of the CGCC's Sexual Assault, Child Abuse, and Human Trafficking Unit, first came together in 2018 to work on things. She was identified through forensic genetic genealogy testing. That's a mouthful.
I feel like that last thing you said was also a mouthful, but
It was, but I just chugged right through it.
yes, you did.
They used DNA profiles from Pless's family, which was already in the database to match her. It didn't say how they got there, but my assumption is, when anyone takes a 23andMe or a Ancestry DNA test, they log all that stuff into these systems as well.
Right. That's how they're catching people left and right these days.
Yeah, Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
His family did it.
And some others.
Yeah. He's just the biggest one I can think
He
of.
is the biggest one.
So her DNA, though, was extremely damaged in a terrible state at this point when they went to go exsolve her DNA from her body.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they had to use every single technique in the book that they have to try and make a complete DNA profile of her. And her family has this to say about this. We appreciate the interest in our family member's story. When Captain Jones and Miss Hutzel notified us that Yvonne had been identified, we were unaware that she was deceased. We are mourning the loss of our loved one and had no comments at this time. We ask for our privacy to be respected.
How do they not know she's deceased? Or how do they not assume it?
I don't know.
Missing since 1977 to 2018.
Right?
I thought she just dipped out.
Yeah. Isn't that just crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand how you wouldn't know or assume.
Right.
I mean, I guess there are those cases of people who pop back up over time.
Well, they could have been really estranged or something.
Or she could have moved to a different country. However, you would think at some point along the way, if this is, your family member, unless, because I mean, it didn't say that they were like in a bad state or anything, that she hated her family and was estranged, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You would assume that even if they were estranged, you'd assume that you'd hear something, that she would maintain contact with somebody in proximity to the family.
Right.
It would be like, oh, by the way, she's off in Amsterdam living her best life.
Yeah.
Not, oh, nobody's heard from her since 1977.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So on November 16, 2018 as well, Macon, Georgia also announced, the sheriffs there, that he had another credible confession to the 1982 strangling of an 18-year-old, Fredonia Smith. Fredonia? I don't know.
I can't. Names are hard.
Names are really hard.
So
she was murdered in Washington Park, and deputies say her body was found strangled to death in the backyard of a Magnolia Street home. The homeowners had just purchased the house 2 weeks prior, and they found the skeletal remains as they were cleaning out an overgrown area.
wow.
Yeah, isn't that horrible?
That's terrible.
So her brother, Eddie, said that she was a loving person who loved kids, and she was still a child at heart, and he knew that she fought until the very end.
Well, she was only 18.
Yeah.
So she was.
A child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a baby.
Yep, just a baby.
Wow.
Yeah. so freaking sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, that's after I'm done with this one, you get to take like 5 turns in a row. Because that's how many I'll be in deep by the time we're done with the series.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did Winnie Ruth Judd, and then I did Key West, and now I have probably either have this one obviously to go, and like 1 or 2 more after this. We got to figure out how we're doing that.
You have to figure out how you're doing it.
We is my multiple personalities.
Oh, gosh.
We're back to this conversation.
Great.
So in the fall of 2018, Little confessed to the 1982 murder of 55-year-old Dorothy Richards and the 1996 murder of 40-year-old Daisy McGuire. And both of their bodies were found in Houma, Louisiana. I think that's how you say it, Houma.
That one I can't help you with.
So Richard's body was located September 14th, 1982 off of LA 24 near Woodlawn Ranch Road, and McGuire, she was found in the 900 block of Magnolia Street on February 6, 1996. They were both strangled, obviously. I feel like I don't even need to say that at this point. So Dorothy's granddaughter, her name was Monique Stepter, said it's opened a wound in her that would never heal. And this is a quote by her. The only thing I remember about her is her coming down the hallway. I don't know why, but that's all I have. She was my mother's mama. It's so hard for our family because there are so many children who have never met their grandmother. It's unbelievable. Why did I just make that up in my head? It's unexplainable, is what she said. Not unbelievable. Unexplainable. It's not really closure because the memories we have are very scarce. He took my grandmother at such an early age. We knew that she was murdered, but we never knew how. This makes me feel like it's 1982 all over again. I never thought we would go through this. There are several generations who have never met my grandmother. He took a precious jewel from us that created this family.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and I believe she was 5 when her grandma passed away, was what it said.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's horrible. Breaks my heart.
Me too. I'm like sort of getting a little teary over here, which is not normal.
Yeah, it's so sad. I just, victim impact. Victim impact.
Yeah.
So this is from Daisy McGuire's family. I feel like, to me, sometimes I catch myself feeling guilty, like I wasn't there to protect her from her brother. And he said that it's been through his relationship with God and his other siblings that have helped him move through his dark times. So he's confessed to the murders, and he said that they happened while he was living in the Scriver area.
I don't know
either. Shrevere. I don't know. I'm not sure how to say that one. I'm trying to sound it out. Scryever. Trying to sound it out. Scryever area.
That was just breaking down into syllables, but okay.
I was spelling it out too.
Okay.
Sounding it out. That's what I meant to say, was sounding it out. Again, English no so good.
And we can always pause for a educational break while you look it up and listen to it on Google.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's his account that he was living there at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a dirty douche.
Yeah.
So on November 19th, 2018, Harrison County, Mississippi Sheriff Tony Peterson said that he had confessed to strangling 36-year-old Julia Critchfield in the Gulfport area in 1978, and then he dumped her body off a cliff.
Wow.
So in the afternoon...
In Shreveport, Louisiana?
In Gulfport.
Oh, Gulfport, Louisiana?
Or Gulfport, Mississippi.
Gulfport, Mississippi.
Didn't I say that, Mississippi, or did I say
don't
Louisiana?
Know.
The last one was in Louisiana. This one that we're talking about now is in Mississippi.
Okay, you may have said that. It's just a lot of states are happening.
I know. This guy's a fucker.
Yeah, right? He gets around.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's a drifter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's a transient.
A vagrant.
Yeah. What's the nomad lifestyle?
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. On the afternoon of January 22nd, 1978, Mark Wayne Tubbs said that he and his friends were riding dirt bikes off a dirt pit off Highway 49 across from Ed Owens Club in Saucier? I don't know. I'm just trying to be fancy. Saucier. The Highway 67 on-ramp is where the club once stood. The body he discovered was that of 36-year-old Julia Critchfield. Tubbs said that she was nude and had a black dress strapped across her body. So she left behind 4 children. I know. This guy sucks.
He does suck.
Like, he really sucks.
Like 93 people. A lot of people.
I hope that he's a toothbrush in the toilet kind of cleaning, dude.
Ugh, yeah. 93 people. So you have to think how many people's lives are affected by 93 people.
That's what I was thinking when I was researching it and going back over my notes today before we did this. Was just that, for every one person, you can assume that 50 people were probably affected by the death, between friends, family, acquaintances, people who knew them, big or small impact. Like, well, I don't deliver mail to this house anymore, because this person passed away. Or, somebody lost their sister.
Or grandma.
Or mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so horrible.
It's terrible.
So on November 20th, 2018, Lee County, Mississippi law enforcement announced that he admitted to killing 46-year-old Nancy Carol Stevens in Tupelo in 2005.
Tupelo, Mississippi.
Tupelo. Okay, I'm trying to be fancy.
Okay, I'm just, the ones I know, I'm helping you out. The ones I don't know, I sit here and shrug in silence, which is not a good visual for a podcast.
In 2005, he killed her. And that case would be presented to a grand jury in January of 2019. So motorists discovered...
I'm like, 2019, that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was, 4 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So motorists discovered Nancy Carol Stevens' body on a roadside in, how do you say it, Tupelo?
Tupelo.
I'm just still saying it the way I want to, apparently.
Go ahead.
On August 8th, 2005, the Lee County, Mississippi coroner determined that the 46-year-old died of manual asphyxiation, and investigators say that Little gave them detailed information that only the killer would know. Little told investigators that he and Nancy were traveling in his RV when he killed her in a Walmart parking lot in Tupelo.
Good job.
I looked at my mom like, did I get that right? And then he dumped her body on the side of the road. And her friends and family say that she had to have had some kind of relationship to him before this, because she wouldn't have just gone with a random guy, especially like in an RV. Like, that's weird.
So maybe he was a little bit of grooming on this one.
Yeah, did a little bit of sweet talking.
Mm-hmm.
They also said that Nancy she was found on the side of the road, and then her autopsy revealed she was strangled like all the other ones. Freaking so sad.
Well, yeah, because he's a good guy because he didn't shoot anybody.
Yeah, because he's so much better than those people that use weapons.
Right.
Your hands are a weapon too.
Clearly.
And then our next one on November 21st, 2018, Richland County, South Carolina, authorities said that he had confessed to murdering 19-year-old Evelyn Weston, whose body was found near Fort Jackson in 1978. And she was found naked on a dirt road off of I-20, according to the newspapers at the time. Yeah. That's all I got for that one.
Yeah, that's sad. And I hate the way he just discards them like trash, too.
Yeah.
That really bothers me.
Well, that's what so many places were like, oh, his MO, just dump him. His MO, just move him into the woods.
Right.
So,
lack
of respect.
Well, I mean, killing them to begin with is a lack of respect. But then to just dump their bodies like they're trash, it's just it's terrible.
Up.
It's terrible.
It's beyond fucked up, all of it.
Yeah. I wish they wouldn't have taken the death penalty off the table. Although, I get it. People need closure, and he wouldn't have given them anything if they didn't.
Right.
Hopefully somebody takes him out in prison.
Well, he's died at this point.
Okay. Well, I was going to say shoot, but actually I took that back in the middle.
Well, I'm pretty sure he died in 2019 or 2020. So just in time to give all these confessions.
That's good.
And he said there was only 93 of them. So he confessed to all of them. Well, to my point, he confessed to all of what he had done.
Okay.
That was to my point, was that he said there was only 93. Here's 93 confessions.
Okay.
So that was to my point. Little confessed to killing 20-year-old Rosie Hill in Marion County, Florida in 1982. Marion. I don't like Marion. I don't like that name.
Okay. Well, then say Marion.
I had troubles with this one before. It's my Colorado accent. I want to say things differently than... you know how hard it was for me to say Louisville when he was arrested in Louisville? No,
Louisville.
I say Louisville.
Yeah, we say Louisville, but Louisville, but only because I spent time there, because my family, my dad, my gram,
Well, my old neighbors, they were from the South too, and they said Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
One of them asked me one time how far the bike ride was to Louisville, and I was like, "What?" Like I just had to like stop and look. I'm like, "Huh? To where? Oh, you're going to Kentucky? That's probably pretty far. Your legs might get tired. You might have to break this one up a little bit and, drink your electrolytes in between." But no, he meant Louisville, Colorado.
Okay.
So Rosie Hill in Florida. And she was 20. So it says that she grew up in the Memphis area. She became pregnant during high school and moved to Florida with her grandparents. She gave birth to her daughter, and then she later moved to Ocala, right? I think I said that right, Ocala. And she was a sex worker. Minnie Hill, her mom, says that her daughter called her on August 4th, 1982, and they spoke again 4 days later. And then she delivered an ominous message to her mom. She said, "Mother, I'm up into something, but I can't get out of it unless I leave from here. So I'll be home the weekend," Hill said. And then she was reported missing on August 12th. And authorities say that her body was discovered in a wooded area next to a pig pen in the county, in August 1982. And authorities said that she had been strangled or suffocated. Okay. And investigators questioned Little at the time of her death, but they didn't have enough evidence to charge him.
Of course not.
Isn't that fucked?
It's so fucked. Because how many times have they had this guy?
And then he just skates. Still out there.
Yeah, he skates and kills how many more people? How many more people after the first one? How many more people after the second time? I mean, how many times in total?
They didn't even have him on the first or the second one.
No, I'm talking
the
about
1977, but it's probably the fourth or fifth one, maybe sixth one down the line that they were the Melissa Lepre. Mm-hmm. And then the girl who was strangled and got away and played dead and then went to the police right away.
Right.
I feel like that'd be grounds, especially considering that they had him on trial in another state just because he's on trial here, but they had him on trial in another state. Mm-hmm. That might be grounds of he's suspected for murder and then attempted murder.
Well,
to keep him.
I didn't mean the first murder and the second murder. What I meant was the first time in custody and the second time in custody. It's
right. How many strikes do you get?
Right. He just keeps getting let loose to continue doing what he's doing.
Oh, and to clarify for earlier, I saw another source from episode 1 that said he was arrested 26 times in 11 different states. So again,
26 fucking times.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what's dumb too? If he would have been fucking busted with weed, he would have been in there for life.
Right.
So stupid.
So dumb.
So the victim's mother, she said that she was satisfied with the confession and then the sheriff's announcement. She got her closure.
Yeah. Sounds like she at least got closure.
In December of 2018, he was indicted for strangling Linda Sue Boards, who was 23, to death in 1981 in Warren County, Kentucky. Her body was found on May 15, 1981, near U.S. Route 68. She was from Smith's Grove at this time, and she'd either got or been killed between May 12th to May 15th of 1981. And then her body was found in a field, though, not just off the side of the road, but in a field on a Hydro Pondsville Road farm. And that's according to a Daily News article. And the coroner at the time said that it was likely that she was killed in another location and then brought to the field. So we've seen him do that before in his cars.
Right.
Specifically in his car.
Right.
I feel like when he did it at houses, he just left them at the house.
Right.
But when it's in a car.
Yeah, then he
dumps them
takes them somewhere else and dumps them.
So she was last seen alive May 11th, though. And she traveled with her sister and brother-in-law to Bowling Green nightclub. Yeah, so fucking sad.
Very sad.
This is horrible. It's making me tear up over here, too. Again, not something that happens very often.
Right.
Although, fuck, I got to the part in Desperate Housewives today that I dread every single time I watch season 8. It was waterworks already today. So one of his victims was identified in December 2018 as Martha Cunningham of Knox County, Tennessee, who was 34 years old when he murdered her in 1975.
75?
Yep. We're getting even further.
Okay, because the last time you said 1977, you said that was believed to be his first victim.
It was believed to be his first victim. But
Until he said...
He confessed to this one, though, but she's believed to for sure be the first one.
The first confirmed victim.
Yes.
But the 1975 one he's admitting to, but we just don't know for sure.
We just don't know for sure.
Fuck.
Okay, so maybe I was wrong about saying the 60 cases. He was tested against 60. So actually, I don't think he was confirmed to be a part of all 60 because maybe there wasn't any trace evidence on some of their bodies. But he was tested against 60. His only actual confirmed been to trial victims are 8.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Isn't it fucked up?
So fucked up.
I hope I'm doing this justice just because this one is like, I am scrolling between 25 different browsers trying to find one person.
Right. Yeah, well, you want to give the victims as much airtime as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I feel bad. This next one I'm going to talk about, the Martha Cunningham that I just introduced in 1975. I have a lot of stuff on her, and oh my God, it's tragic. But this information was available, right? Like for the one that I mentioned before, like the second one on the confession list that I mentioned, Brenda Alexander, not a lot of information. Like, could not find it.
It happens, though.
Yeah, it does.
Like when I did the Christmas killings one.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't find information on, like, any of them.
Right. Only a handful, a tiny snippet of information on a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super sucks. So she was strangled, and he left her body in remote Oglesby Road in East Knox County, and he likely killed her New Year's Eve of 1974 or early on New Year's Day of 1975.
Fuck her.
Yeah, right? She's just trying to enjoy her new year. So hunters found her body, and it appeared that she had been in a field not far from the woods on Interstate 40 for at least a couple of weeks, and her cause of death was ruled as a natural cause of death.
What?
So she had a history of seizures, and her family thought that this could be what killed her.
That sucks.
Yeah, her family believed that this is what happened to her.
Although it might have been easier, like,
than admitting that she...
Well, because they obviously genuinely thought it.
But wait.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So, like I said, her body was left outside, and she had begun to decompose. However, it was in January, so it didn't happen that quickly. The weather was colder. But wow, this just pisses me off, okay? This one really fucking rattles me because, like I said, ruled it natural cause of death, right?
Right.
They said that her family thought it was just seizures. But when her autopsy was conducted, the doctor's exam, the first note he wrote in this exam was, "The body is that of a well-developed, well-nourished Negro female." Quotes. That was his wording, okay? And then her clothing is in disarray with stockings and panties pulled down on her thighs, exposing her pubic area. And then her slip and dress are pulled over her chest, exposing her lower abdomen. But her bra is in place, but her jewelry is missing. And it's a fucking natural cause of death. How?
A natural cause is in a seizure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't that one, like, when I was researching that one just... that one made my blood boil researching it because it's like 2 + 2 doesn't equal 3, actually, in case you weren't aware. It doesn't equal 3.
Right. Yeah, I don't know many people who die of a seizure and are undressing themselves and losing their jewelry.
Yeah.
None.
I don't know any either.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that people do die from their seizures, like they won't come out of it or whatever.
Right.
But not with their fucking panties around their knees and thigh area, you know, all the way down, their dresses up and exposed, and their jewelry off. Like, clearly, she must have been a jewelry wearer for them to know that she had jewelry on when she passed away.
Right.
And then to know that it's missing.
And clearly, she had to have been sexually assaulted.
And so they just didn't think that there was any foul play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, isn't that fucked?
Yeah, that's stupid.
For more than 40 years, no one ever thought that she was murdered.
Okay.
Until he confessed to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't, again, that one's not confirmed, but a confession.
Okay. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. On May 31st of 2019 in Cuyahoga
Don't know.
County, Ohio, Prosecutors announced indictments with 4 counts of aggravated murder and 6 counts of kidnapping that accused Little of killing Mary Jo Payton in 1984 and Rose Evans in 1991 in Cleveland. Both were strangled and dumped. The body of Rose Evans, she was 32, was found August 24th, 1991 in a vacant lot on East 39th Street. She left her hometown of Binghamton, New York, when she was 17, and Rose Evans, she had been strangled, according to the coroner, Elizabeth K. Balraj. And as for Mary Jo, an anthropologist had to create a model of what she looked like, but remained unidentified until 1992, when Cleveland put her thumbprint in the database and got a match. And they suspect that he picked her up from a bar near East 105th and Euclid Avenue. And he described her as a short, plump woman in her 20s with brown hair.
Yeah. So stupid and sad.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
So he confessed to another killing in Cleveland in 1977 or 1978. She was found, though, on March 18th, 1983 in Willoughby Hills. And this is according to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs, which I've heard that name several times before listening to all the true crime podcasts I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So she was likely Black and somewhere between 17 to 35 years old. Her body was dumped down a grassy slope near a fence in a wooded area just off Interstate 271. And her body was found by a man walking his dog, and only her skeleton and some clothing and jewelry remained. Which then makes me beg the question, why did he steal the other woman's jewelry and leave her jewelry?
Yeah.
And how, if this is a spot where people are walking their dogs, how was she never found?
Well, it's like the people that were cleaning their yard when they bought the house.
Just moved into it too. Yeah.
Yeah, but what about the other people?
Maybe it was vacant for a long time.
Maybe. It had to be a real long time if it was from
skeletal remains.
Yeah, from a human being to just a skeleton.
So he also confessed to killing 2 women in Akron. Fuck, I thought I had that one. That was a thigh slapper. In Akron, 2 in Cincinnati. One of the bodies was dumped outside of Columbus, and one woman he met in Columbus and disposed of in Kentucky. Of the 2 women he murdered in Cincinnati, one was identified as Anna Stewart, who was 33, and she was dumped in Grove City. She was last seen on October 6, 1981, getting into a cab at the General Hospital to see her sister, which it's now the UC Medical Center. Her body was found in Grove City on October 12th, and she had 3 young boys that she left behind.
It's so sad.
I know. So fucked up.
It is so sad.
So fucked up. So I'm going to leave us on one more Jane Doe for the night.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating. But
yeah. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't do anything about it, unfortunately, because they just didn't want to, fucking take witness testimony seriously. And I don't know, lock them up for life. And so now we have a bunch of women who are unidentified for probably ever at this point.
Right.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because some of them have been identified. But the chances of all of them being identified and even linked to him, not entirely probable.
No. Hopeful, though. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll find out a lot of them. But I just doubt it will be 100% of them.
Oh, I'm sure it won't.
So this is quotes, the Jane Doe was what they called her, was anywhere from 15 to 50, as her ages and the date of her murder are unclear. She was Black, slender, and wore glasses, and she lived somewhere over the Rhine neighborhood of Cincinnati with a heavy female Hispanic. And he left her beside a cigarette billboard in Ohio. And then on June 7, 2019, he was indicted in Hamilton County for murdering the 2 women he killed in Cincinnati.
How do you know that this woman lived with a heavy Hispanic? Oh, because he said it.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Well, no, I know it was. I'm not saying how did you know, Daphne?
Were you there?
No. And him fucking 15 to 50?
Yeah, that's a pretty broad range.
Right? Because
either she's undeveloped or she's in menopause.
Well, that's before when you said 17 to 35, I was thinking, wow. But 15 to 30 is even more wow.
How about 15 to 50?
15 to 50. What did I say? 15 to 30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus 20.
15 to 30 plus 20. And that could either be 5 to 30 or 15 to 50.
Oh my gosh. I hate
Or,
this guy.
wait, if it's 20, never mind. It would be
fine.
5.
No mathing. No mathing.
That's just half of 20. It's cool.
No mathing.
Yeah, no mathing for me, please. I'm good on that. Yeah, this guy, he's a fucker.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because it's like, I want to do this justice. Like, I want to do right by this. Because like we talked about before, not a lot of people are talking about this.
Right.
And I want to do it justice. However, if I can't find the information, how am I meant to do this justice?
Well, I think you're doing the very best you can with the information that
Is
you can
available.
find. Yeah, that's available. Because like I said in episode 1, it's victimology. So if they are prostitutes, if they are sex workers, a legitimate source of income, a true actual job.
Well, these people
They're humans.
They have equally as much of an opportunity, or should, to be humanized and be respected and be identified and found and cared about and have their killers found out about.
Agreed.
As like the Ted Bundy girls. I realized that his victims were, a police chief's daughter and white women and who were, college students. But like, just because one of them is a prostitute doesn't mean that they don't have friends and family and people who care about them.
Right.
Like, it's such a mistrial of justice.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. But at least they finally got him. And unfortunately, like we talked about, they took the death penalty off the table. However, at least we get all the confessions out of it that, he said there was 93. We got 93 confessions,
Right.
And like they said, that they don't think he's lying about any of them. We just have more to figure out. And a lot more to confirm, a lot more bodies to find, women to be identified, women whose stories need to be further out there, even if they're identified and confirmed,
Yeah. Yep. It's terrible. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, that might not be the words I meant to say, but I appreciate your hard work and I appreciate you doing the most justice that you can to this story.
I'm trying to.
I don't appreciate the story, though, because it's real sad.
It's real fucked up.
Yeah.
It's more than just sad. It's like fucked up.
Yeah, it is. I hate this guy.
Yeah, I do too. What a prick.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. He sucks. But you know who doesn't suck? The Nuggets.
Right. Time to go. Time to watch the game.
Well, thank you for listening. I hope you have a great weekend. And Dad, if you're listening to this, by the time it's posted, happy Father's Day. I love you.
Aw, that was cute and sweet. All right. Well, I look forward to part 3.
Yes, possibly 4.
Okay. Well,
Like we
part
said-
3 I know is next because this was part 2.
But like we said, though, we'll let you know when it's the last part. Might be next week, might be the following. And this will be out next weekend.
All right. Thank you so much.
Go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.